Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Monogatari of and Monster Season episode number 10 reaction. So the previous episode, yes, Aragi is back and he has a new job. So basically this job is him figuring out what's going on because apparently like girls from the basketball club, they are like they're like becoming like not vampires, but they're apparently their blood is being sucked by a vampire, and this is happening like every day, like one person, and not necessarily every day one person, but like they're finding one person every day being the victim, and in a similar situation. So Aragi's job, obviously Gain has made him like look into this, and because he has Shinobu with him and he knows a lot about vampires. So yeah, this is like his new job and he has to figure it out. Also, we got to know that like Virtuoso is here in not Virtuoso, Virtuoso wasn't it? Wait a minute. Dystopia, yeah, Dystopia Virtuoso, yeah. So Dystopia is here in Japan, and she, like all the victims that she has been taking blood from, she is writing like a little code, and in a way she's kind of trying, at least this is what I think, that she's trying to signal Shinobu that, oh, I'm here, something like that. So yeah, that's what's going on, and Aragi is now tasked to take care of this, and he went to Kanbaru's place to ask for help. That is where we met that character. I forgot her name, but we have seen her before. And she brought into Aragi's notice that apparently something else is also going on in the basketball club. A lot of girls are disappearing. So that is like another thing that's going on, along with the blood sucking thing that's going on. So yeah, let's see what happens in today's episode. Let us get started. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's begin. Again, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. 5 have gone missing. Already known? Oh. Oh no, they're the same person. Ah. Okay, okay, so they're the same, it's the same, okay. Hmm. Wow, so she was the main person over there, and after she's gone, yeah, now everyone's just struggling. Oh, wow, yeah. But now she's also retired. Wow. Genius sports player Kambaru. Crazy. Backfired. Hmm. She's also. Yeah. It's a fun. Hmm. I see, that makes sense because they're the ones who, because of whom. Yeah, so they cannot say anything. Wow. Yeah, I see. That makes sense. Yeah. Hmm. Wow. That's his name now. The other two missing. Yeah, let's figure out the way. Hmm. Right. Wow. Okay. Shadows of the Hearts of the. Hmm. Right. Yeah, I was wondering. So it. I guess it depends because Senjo Kahara had. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Damn. Yeah. Kohai 1, Kohai 2, Kohai 3. Okay. Misako Kangu. Hiseki, that's her name? Yeah, exactly. That's what I also think. Like she herself is doing it. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, it would have been on everyone, but it's only one person. Okay. True? Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Hmm. Yeah, input command. Oh no, what is it? Suppress. Interesting. Yeah, like this. Okay. I thought you chained her up or something. Yeah. Mr. Donuts. Wow. Perfect way to chain her down. Wow. She's still eating it. That is true because she's literally tied to the. Oh boy. Wow, she noticed it now. Right. It's a lot. Damn. Yeah. Spring break. Yeah. Wow. I don't think that's how it. Yep. I wasn't. Yep, that's what happened. True. Because he's an exception. He survived. Hmm. Oh. Okay. Wow. Right. Hmm. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. The time travel. Yep. So that's literally what's happening here as well. Yeah. I said that in the previous episode. Like it was the same thing. Yeah. Yep. Not necessarily. Hmm. Tch. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. What? Another one? Who? Oh. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We know the story, so I guess they're going to skip forward. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. It's been so long. Nah. About that though. Yeah, I like it's like, maybe that's what's happening now. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, yeah. There you go. Yep, and that's what's happening now. All the basketball club girls. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That was just a lie? Oh no. She's putting two and two together. Yeah, you messed up. Oh no. Oh no. Is this. I'm. Okay. For a moment, I was thinking like Virtuoso's here or something. Like she tracked Shinobu down or something, I thought. Yep. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Aragi. Wow. Back to his normal. Wow. Not bored enough. Yes. Wow. No, no, we need you because we need to keep Shinobu distracted. What the? Yeah, so the whole Nade Monogatari was happening up until now. Yeah. Oh, because okay. What the? What is happening over here? What the hell? Yeah. Yo. Right. Girl lost by a snail. Current god. Yep. Please. 失礼噛みました。Shinobu to Shinobu Nobushi. Yo. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. With wow. Yeah. Right. Oh. Oh no, I know who this is. Well, it's obviously her. This is not good. Yo, this is dystopia. Oh no. It's her, isn't it? Oh, yeah. There you go. Wait, what's happening? Why is she laying down? Wait, what? Wait, she's not the one who's feeding? Why is she all shriveled up? Wait, what? Isn't she the one who's. Well, that wasn't. Wait, so she isn't the one who is sucking the blood? What is happening? Like, otherwise, why would she be in this state if she's not the one? What? Crypto buyer? Yeah, so she hasn't fed for a while, I think. Oh, wow. Yeah, she's a god over here. Medicine. Yeah. Okay. So we have to go back over there. Yeah. Like I said, he went there. Oh no. Blood pond hell. Second homeland. Oh boy. Oh, here we go. Heartspan. Kokorobatari. Wow. Yeah. 400 years of swordsmanship. Yeah. Wow. That is crazy. Well, he's dead and he's gone to hell. Hmm. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, there's still something left. Wait, is what's his name? That guy? I forgot his name. Teori Tadasuru. I think will he be here? What? Doesn't look like hell. What is this place? Yeah, you think that's what happened? Right, yo. What the? Wait, this voice. This is her. Uh, Acerola. Yep. Wait, why is she here? What? Okay, what is happening now? I have no clue what's going on. How in how is what? Okay. How is she here? She was alive. So you know what? We'll see. Anyways, that last part baffled me. I'm not really sure what's going on now. But either way, and also he said that, oh, I like dropped into heaven, like, and I rose up to heaven instead of dropping down to hell. And Acerola says that yes, like, in heaven call me Acerola Hime, something like that. She said. So she confirms that this is heaven, like, really, or is this like some kind of a, I don't know. This is like hell, and like Araragi is like, this is like Araragi's desire or something, and that's getting reflected or whatever. Because I don't know, like, it's hell. Anything can happen if it's actually hell where he is in, and this is all an illusion or whatever. You know what? Let's wait for next week. Yeah, I'm sure we'll all get our answers. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about in the discussion section. So turns out, now I'm not really sure what's going on. First and foremost, I think I mentioned this in the previous episode. They didn't really show us that Dystopia, like, was the one who is, sucking the blood. They haven't really shown that to us. If you remember in the previous episode, they showed Dystopia coming, and that girl was there. I forgot her name, the one who was frustrated with the basketball club, and she was saying something like, "Oh, I hope like some kind of a, like, like something comes and just makes me, like, puts me into a state where I cannot go to the basketball club. Like, it can be anyone, be it human, be it like some kind of supernatural thing. I don't care." And that's when Dystopia comes in, and she kind of laughs, and that's where that scene ended. From that point onwards, they didn't show us anything. What happened to Dystopia? Is she the one who's, like, drinking the blood and all that stuff? None of them showed, like, none of the scenes showed anything like that. All we got to know is that one after the other, basketball club girls were falling and becoming like these ghoulish type of things, and they are their blood is being sucked, and that whole living message with Dystopia's signature, that thing as well. So that because of all of that, we all assume that Dystopia's, or at least, like, not we all assume, because I guess Aragi, all of them didn't know what's going on, but we, the audience, at least assumed that this is Dystopia doing all of this. Like, my theory was that that girl, the first girl that we saw, since she was so frustrated about the whole situation, my theory was that she's the one who told Dystopia to not only suck her blood, but all the other girls, basketball club girls' blood as well, or something like that. And Dystopia was probably like, sure, why not? And that is why she is doing this. That was my theory. But today, after seeing this episode, maybe that's not what's going on, because first and foremost, Dystopia is almost at the verge of death. You can see she is all shriveled up. That means or at least I'm assuming, she's not feeding. She isn't the one who's feeding. So what is happening here? Who's the one who's feeding on these girls? And if it's not Dystopia, who is it? Or is there something that we are overlooking here? Because from the looks of it, it seems like Dystopia hasn't fed for a while. Like, you can see she's all shriveled up and everything. And if you remember, the first episode of SHINOBUMONOGATARI we saw, Dystopia was not like this. She was pretty healthy. Like, not healthy, I would say. She was still a little girl. She wasn't in her adult self. I don't think she was her adult self. She was still the little girl that she was. But at least she wasn't like this. So that would mean that from that point onwards, she is not feeding. Otherwise, she wouldn't reach this stage. Or maybe something else happened. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she fed on something like something else and she became like this, who knows. But like from the looks of it, I would assume she's not feeding. Otherwise, why is she in this state? And if she's not feeding, then who's the one who's feeding on these girls? Who's the one who's feeding on the blood of the girls? So that's the question. Now the mystery deepens. The whole thing. I'm not really sure. It seemed pretty obvious what's going on, but now after watching this episode, maybe it's not. Something is going on, and we don't know what's happening here. So yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to talk about today. Like that was like the most surprising part. I wasn't expecting, like when Hachiguchi was like, "Oh, someone is here to meet you" or something like that. She said, and she's like, "Oh, it's a little girl." I was like, "Oh, it's Destopia. She's here, and she's going to talk to Shinobu or something." I wasn't expecting seeing her in that state. I was thinking she was probably sitting down or something, like ready to talk, but she was like on the ground, like all shriveled up. So yeah, now here's another thing that I am thinking. Maybe Gain has something to do with this, because Gain told Araragi that keep Shinobu suppressed however you have to for tonight. And then maybe she went out and I don't know, maybe she did something, maybe she like went on a little vampire hunting or whatever. Maybe she brought in, I don't know, the others, the vampire hunters, like episode, all of them. Maybe she hired them again and maybe she's making them work, or she herself is dealing with it, and somehow she was able to get Virtuoso, and Destopia Virtuoso was able to run away from there and maybe reach the Hachiguchi's place, and then she collapsed over there. So maybe that's what's happening. Who knows? Because that's also another thing I think we need to keep in mind, is that Gain, there must be a reason why Gain told Araragi to keep Shinobu suppressed. Why did she say that? So there's a huge possibility that Gain is behind this state of Destopia. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but there's a possibility that is the case. Maybe that is why she told Araragi to keep Shinobu suppressed. Nobody knows. We'll see. But yeah, there's a lot of questions that we have, but we don't have enough hints or clues to properly think of the answers. So all that we can do now is wait and see how this story proceeds and what happens. Next episode, I'm guessing we'll probably see what is happening with Aragi in hell, or is that heaven? I don't know. I have no idea. And what is happening there? Like, how is Acerola over there? That is also another big question. So all these questions we'll probably get to know next week. But for now, this is mysterious, because like up until now I had a certain, like in a way I was thinking the whole thing is happening, but now everything just like completely collapsed. All the like the theories or whatever you can say that I was thinking of, oh, this is what's happening, it's all gone, because now Destopia herself is just all collapsed and is like so yeah, let's wait and see. Yeah, so that's the first thing I wanted to talk about today. A few other things. So okay, the whole thing with Kanbaru and Higasa, I think that was her name. So basically Aragi took in their request. Their request is, oh, so yeah, this is another thing I wanted to talk about. From the previous episode, I thought this disappearance of the girls from the basketball club is a separate situation than the Virtuoso Destopia thing that is going on. I thought these two were separate incidents. Like, oh, the girls are going missing, and a few of them were found. Turns out, no, that's not entirely true. These two are the same things going on. But what's happening is that since 5 girls have gone missing and we have only been able to find 3 girls who have become victims of this whole situation, that means there's 2 girls who are still not accounted for. So in a way, if Aragi keeps investigating this situation with Destopia, I'm assuming we'll come to the conclusion, we'll be able to solve the problem that like Kanbaru and Higasa brought in front of us as well. The problem being the basketball girls going missing, because these two are connected. it's the same thing that's going on, so if you're able to solve one problem, we'll be automatically solving the other, I'm assuming. Yeah, so that's the whole situation. The main thing here is that 3 girls have been found. So out of the 5 girls who are missing, 3 have been found, 2 are still missing. So these 2 are probably somewhere, we still haven't been able to find them, and they're probably also in a similar situation to the other victims, so that's what's going on. So that's the other thing. A few other things. For example, Shinobu today told us about what would happen if Araragi failed in becoming like a vampire, if that's what happened. So I think I mentioned this in the previous episode. I've said something like, the same thing would happen. What happened in that episode of Monogatari second season, where they went to save Hachikuji, where Shinobu, or the alternate timeline Shinobu, went berserk after losing Aragi and literally converted the whole town into these ghoulish creatures, ghoulish vampire, lifeless empty husks. But here's the question, I'm not really remembering. They did say that these are kind of empty husks of vampires, but does that mean they're dead? I don't think they are. So if we're able to, I don't know, if you're able to solve the problem, or is there any way to bring them back? Because if that's not the case, then the 3 girls that we have found, so they'll be like that forever or something? What's happening with that? So that's my other question. I think they kind of answered this in season 2, I don't know, second season of Monogatari, or somewhere in the show, but I've probably forgotten. But this is one question that I'm having now, is that it for them? Or I don't think that is it, because that would be a bit heavy. Oh damn, they're just gone now, that's it. But yeah, I doubt that's the case. Maybe we can bring them back, who knows. Either way, yeah. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, what I was saying is that, so Shinobu says that Aragi asks Shinobu what would have happened, and Shinobu says if you remember that back then, what happened, that's what would have happened to you. You would have no will or anything. You just become these zombie-like creatures, and that's what would have happened to you. That is every time a vampire fails to become a vampire, which is majority of the time, that's what happens. Right. Yeah, and there you go. That's the other thing, confirmation that we got. Also, Ononoki comes in today, and from the looks of it, it seems she was helping Nadeko out, and Nadeko and Hachikuji, that whole thing that happened in Nade Monogatari, that was what was going on. And yeah, I'm guessing that was going on simultaneously to what's happening here. So again, this is the part that kind of confuses a lot of people, is the whole chronological way as to how this is going on. So yeah, I think that was happening alongside this. Either way, right. So that was that, and then we have the whole thing with Virtuoso, Dystopia, Suicide Master, that whole thing. So yeah, those were the few things that I wanted to talk about today. Right, and there you go. And now we have to go to hell to get, I think she said, wait a minute, she said she needs an ingredient, doesn't she? Yeah, medicine. She needs a medicine, okay, from somewhere not in this world, so hell. Now here's the thing, Hachikuji wanted him to go to hell, and if that's what happened, then that's all well and good. But in the end, everyone's saying that is heaven. Even Aragi is oh, is this heaven? And that Asarul as well is oh, this is heaven. So either that is a complete lie and this is some kind of an illusion and this is actually in hell, or if he actually somehow rose to heaven, then I think your mission already failed, Aragi, because they said that medicine can be procured in hell. If you're in heaven, then that's a failed mission, isn't it? Like, it's like it's like in a completely opposite direction. Right, but I don't know. I don't think this is heaven. I think there's like some kind of some kind of tomfoolery is going on here. Like he he's like in some kind of illusion, and this is like something that's going on. I don't know, probably because otherwise it makes no sense. How the hell is Acerola here? It makes no sense that Acerola is here. Like Shinobu's still there outside. Like like what is happening? So yeah, you know what? Let's wait and see. Okay. And yeah, there you go. That was today's episode. I'm glad, like we've gotten Shinobu. We've gotten to see Shinobu today, and like she's here directly in the story now, and like we've seen her before as well, obviously in this season, back when she was interacting with Nadako and everything. But this is like the first time in this season where she is properly like outside and she's like interacting with people and everything. And Aragi is also there. So nice. I'm glad. Okay. And yeah, that was today's episode. Good episode. Yes. I'm looking forward to whatever's going to happen. And I'm very curious as to see how Dystopia is going to react to the fact that Shinobu is literally tied to Aragi now. Like, what's going to happen? Oh boy. Right, and that was that. Okay, now that was my overall impression. Now let me talk about this episode scene by scene. In the very first scene, you can see Araragi in front of Kanbaru and wait, what was his name? You know what? Let me check. It was something like Higasa or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah, Higasa. That's correct. So yeah, Araragi is in front of Kanbaru and Higasa, and we carry on from the part where it stopped in the previous episode. So basically, they are telling Araragi to help out with this situation. So 5 girls have gone missing, and here both of them talk about the basketball club. What's going on with their club? And what is the problem with the club? So it turns out the problem is basically that Kanbaru was the star of that club. She was like that one person in that club who was the like the person who just carried the club basically. So she, after retiring, turns out the club tried to keep the same like work ethic, be it same training regimen that Kanbaru went through and everything. And we all know Kanbaru was crazy. Kanbaru went crazy with her training. She was a beast. Not everyone is like that, or majority of the people are not like that. So they tried to keep the same thing, and that kind of made the students more. So I think this is what they say. Where is that part? Okay, the problem was that you retired from injuring your left arm. That framework was completely inherited by the team. So the person who the framework kind of adhered to, which was Kanbaru, she left, and they kept the framework still the same, and it was inherited by the team. So if Kanbaru was like winning like I don't know, like 5 out of 5 gold medals in 5 competition, like now that Kanbaru is gone, obviously there's a possibility that that whole thing will drop down. But the people in the club, they were like, oh no, we're going to win 5 out of 5 medals. But obviously that is not possible because Kanbaru was exceptional, and now that she's gone, it's not really possible to do the same thing. So like something like that, I guess. Here we go. Higasa says, while I was the captain, I tried every trick in the book to somehow make things work. So Higasa, obviously she herself was also very talented, and she tried her best to keep everything floating, which kind of worked, I guess, according to her. But then she also retired. Yeah, I retired in April and it fell apart. So now the only 2 people who were good enough to be in the basketball club retired, and now the whole like quality dropped. But even if the quality dropped, the club still had the same like motto, same framework, and they kept the like crazy like routine, crazy like training routine and everything probably the same. That is why you can see the girls were complaining about how they never got any results, but the training was like crazy. You saw that girl in the previous episode. We saw her schedule, like out of like 6 days, like 6 days of the week, there were like 5 days were like practice or something. That is crazy. Like, who does that? And not only that, you can see that girl was, the first girl, she was coming back home at night. So that means that she was practicing from the like from probably the evening, from when school ended to that time. It's like that is insane. Every single day like that, 5 days of the week, anyone will get stressed out and they'll probably want to leave. And they're not even getting any proper result for that. Okay. So Akanbo says sports isn't something you have to suffer over to play. So if it's painful, I think you should just quit. It's funny how in the background they're writing sports player Kanbaru, like they're kind of jabbing fun at the fact that she's the genius sports player, but she's the one who's saying this. Genius sports player Kanbaru. Yeah, so here we go. So this is why Higasa says a lot of people resigned. They resigned because they got injured during practice. That is crazy. So nobody properly resigned. They just had to resign because they were injured. Okay, they had to do something about it. The third year alumni gathered and had a meeting and nothing happened. Basically, it backfired. So basically, in the past few days, team members stopped coming to school one after the other. On the surface, it looks like there are no issues whatsoever, which makes it even more terrible. Because, I guess that does make it more terrible because nobody can look into it deeper. They're like, oh, everything's fine, no problem. Once things settle down, and for those who felt agony once things settle down, and for those who felt agony, got a strange sense of satisfaction and sometimes enter a state of euphoria which paralyzes them. Even when everyone criticized the girls who thoughtlessly made complaints, don't play hooky. Are you running away by yourself? They seem to have a strange sense of fun making those criticisms. Okay, so Kanvaru says that it's impossible for us to change the structure because we are the reason why the structure started. Which is true. She says because the structure is what our generation created. So they really cannot say anything in this situation. So what they're doing is basically the same thing as we're doing. So I guess I can see what Kanba was saying. Hey, Kanba was basically saying like this is what we did, so we cannot really say others to not do it. They'll be like, oh, but you guys did it. So in that sense, if she tells others not to do it, it will be kind of, I guess you could say, weirdly, what is that word? Weirdly arrogant. Wouldn't be like you can imagine like what others will feel like if Kanbaru is like, oh no, you shouldn't practice this hard, and then they'll be like, but Kanbaru senpai, you did the same routine. Like what will Kanbaru say then? Like, oh no, I'm different, I'm better than you guys, so you guys should. Obviously she cannot say that, but it's kind of implying that in a backhanded manner. So that's like weirdly arrogant, and it won't really work because the other girls will obviously get insulted by this, I feel like. Because they obviously know that they're in no way similar to Kanbaru and they cannot do the same thing. But still, they are also basketball players, they also have like a certain pride in them, and so, like someone like Kanbaru telling them not to do the same routine that she did is kind of weirdly arrogant, and they might get offended by it and it might backfire in a bad way, So I guess obviously Kanbaru and Higasa cannot do anything in this situation. Okay, the only difference is how they feel about it. No, maybe we were in the wrong after all. Okay. Like how coaches who experienced corporal punishment and pecking orders like how coaches who experienced corporal punishment and pecking orders gone too far won't change their opinions and would say, yeah, I see. It may not be suitable for current times, but it's going. Yeah, so basically, like, I can see what's going on. So, like, it's saying that people back in the days who probably went through some situations and now that is not appropriate in today's time. But they have this weird type of a thing where they're like, oh no, it was suitable back then, so it is good in our own way, so they try to enforce the same thing in this time as well, but things have changed, the days have changed, so you shouldn't do that. Okay, I mean, from the day I joined to the day I retired, every day should have been fun, I think. Okay, so anyways, that was that. The school tells us to keep quiet, so that's why they brought this to Aragi's, yeah. Okay, so this is where Arag is like, alright, fine, tell me. I promise you that from here onwards, none of your underclassmen will go missing. Okay, so that was that. So Higasa's like, alright, here you go. She gives the details to him. And then Higasa's like, by the way, Aragi senpai, do you have a girlfriend? Yeah? Okay, right. What? What? You think Kanbao didn't tell her about Senjogahara? You think? Like, what? And she's deliberately acting. I think so, because I'm pretty sure Kanbao told her about Senjogahara and Aragi, and Aragi was extremely famous. She herself said it. So I'm pretty. Oh, I guess maybe the school didn't really know that she was going out with Senjogahara, but I'm sure Kanbao told her. So she's probably just just acting, like acting as if she doesn't know, to tease him or something. I don't know, whatever. Right. Anyways, that was that. And then we have Gain here. Gain is now talking to Aragi, and Gain is like, okay. Okay. Indeed, the shadows in the hearts of girls' basketball team members carrying depressing emotions like, why do I have to sacrifice academics to devote myself to rigorous practice? If the underclassman I admire is no longer here, may have attracted the vampire. So this is an interesting thing that Gain says here. Aragi immediately was like, wait, really? Is that why the vampire got called? You're saying apparitions have reasons suitable for them? Yes, I guess, because I didn't even think about it that way, unless this was brought up today. But I guess that is true, because here's the thing. If you think about it, the very first apparition that we saw in Bakemonogatari, who is the crab god, the crab god, you remember Senjogahara's situation where she lost her weight? That happened, like, she met the crab god because she was in a situation where she needed someone to, like that. And that's why I guess she met the crab, and she lost her weight and all of that stuff happened. So I guess that's why, like, certain situation, when you need a certain situation getting resolved, these type of things bring, the apparitions. God damn, it's raining here. Bring the apparitions to you, or attracts the apparitions to you. Something like that, I guess. Yeah. What about I think Gain herself says, like, Suruga's situation with the monkey's paw, that whole thing as well, the rainy devil. So okay, name, I'm Kanbaru Suruga class, I'm glad I made to the third year, position small forward. Here we go. Gain says, well, that niece of mine didn't really get faster at running from positive reasons either. Yeah, which is true. Superstar wasn't born a superstar, she had to become one. Yeah, because of the rainy devil. If you remember, she asked for help. She was like, oh, make me fast. And, the rainy devil was like, alright. She literally, like, made all the others... That is so messed up. Made all the other contestants just hospitalized so that she becomes fast automatically. So Kanbaru was like, bro, like, and she could not even, like, get rid of it. So now she herself had to become fast enough. I think this was, like, I think in Bakemonogatari they mentioned this, that she herself then trained so hard that she becomes so fast that nobody else is faster than her. That is the only way she could stop the other girls from becoming victims. Because as soon as there's some girl who is faster than her, immediately next day they'll be hospitalized because of the rainy devil, because of the nature of the wish that she made. So she had to become the fastest. There was no other choice. Right, so that's why. Okay, so Gain is like, alright, so Aragi, you promised them, now you have to do it. So now two other girls, we have to we have to find them. Misago Kangu, and we have Sowa Kiseki. Like, interesting name, like Kiseki. Kiseki means miracle, isn't it? Wow, so her name literally has miracle in it. That is crazy. Alright, so these two. Okay, so this is why Aragi brings up the fact that maybe Kuchimoto's flashcards, it was written by Dystopia. So Gain also brings up here that, okay, but why did she put it only on one person? If that was like some kind of a signature or a call card for the vampire, shouldn't she put it on every single victim? Why that particular person only? Which is true, like, yeah, why that? Okay, so this is why Aragi says, in case of Kuchimoto, she was found inside an abandoned shack. So maybe the vampire could take the time to work out without worrying about other people, which also is understandable. I can understand what Aragi is trying to say. Basically, like, yeah, all the other situations, she probably fed and ran away or something. But for Kuchimoto, she fed, took her to the shack, and she had to wait for the night because, not night, sorry. She had to wait throughout the day because she's a vampire. She cannot go outside during the day. So in that time, the amount of time she waited, that chance, she had plenty of time. So maybe she could write her name and make this whole code and, like, do this thing. She had that much amount of time. Like, that's what Aragi is trying to say, which again makes sense. So Gain says, I did some handwriting analysis. I couldn't come up with a definitive result. Seems like the two handwritings, it doesn't seem like the two handwritings matched. Wait, so, okay, but if it was written in a hurry while being assaulted by a vampire, it's also natural to be in disarray. Okay, all that stuff. Right, so this is why Gain says, like, Aragi, I would like to tell you that you have to make Shinobu, suppress Shinobu for tonight. Like, yeah, so there you go. Now Aragi is in a pinch. Obviously, Shinobu's going to get suspicious. Like, so Shinobu's in his room, and Aragi's like, what should I do? So Shinobu's like, why am I here? Like, you need something from me? Or are you hiding something from me? And Aragi's like, oh no, I'm not hiding anything from you. Like, obviously not. Yeah, so there you go. Then he brings up Mr. Donut and he's like, oh, Mr. Donuts. Shinobu's like, yeah, this is the suspicious part. Why? Why suddenly? Like, you're being too nice. But, like, she doesn't deny it. She does take the Mr. Donut and starts chomping on it, Right, so the question is, as Aragi thinks, how will I keep her suppressed? This is like 7 hours I'll have to keep her in this room. And it's like a few packets of Mr. Donut. She'll probably eat it in a half an hour or something. Then what? What is he supposed to do? And as Aragi says, like, hiding something from Shinobu is harder than hiding something from my parents, which is true because she's literally stuck to his shadow. Okay, so then Aragi's like, oh, look at this new, new edition, new limited time flavor of Mr. Donut. Shinobu's like, whoa, what is this? And she actually gets distracted by the new, Mr. Donut. Anyways, as time goes, Aragi was thinking what to ask Shinobu, and that's when Aragi comes up with an idea. He's like, okay, this is something I've always wanted to ask you. Yeah, you sucked my blood and became an immortal vampire, didn't I? He kind of like makes like a little, a little change in the story. He's like, oh, like you were in the verge of death, and I, the great Aragi, came and like asked you to feed on my blood. You were on the verge of extermination. Dying in this way is just like me. It's not bad. I said as a nihilistic grin as I offered my own egg. But yeah, that's definitely not what happened. Because if you remember, I remember Araki screaming at the top of her lungs, and I think he like jumped back so back, like he like covered quite a distance, and he was like he almost fell down and was like scrambling up the ground trying to run away from Shinobu. I remember that in Kizumonogatari. So yeah, that is definitely not what happened. And I remember he went back first, and like went back, and then she like came back again to Shinobu, and then like asked her to feed on the blood. He was going to run away first, but obviously this is Araragi we're talking about, his hero complex, like saving every single person that he puts his eyes on, that kicked in, and he went back to save, like Kiss Shot back then. Yeah, so he's like, what would have happened if I didn't become a vampire, like a proper vampire? Which is where Shinobu's like, oh, like, you remember? Shinobu's like, oh, this is finally the time has come to talk about this. Yeah, so she says basically it'll become like a zombie, like if you remember back then when we went to help the girl, Hachiguchi, yeah, you would have become like them, like a zombie with no ability to think. So Arag is like, okay. Okay, so that was that. So this is where Arag is like, maybe this time the vampire is also acting recklessly. Yeah, and this is where Arag is thinking like, okay, I don't really know that many vampires. The only few vampires I know. So he's not able to think of, that many situations. So the first vampire he knows obviously is, Kiss Shot, I said earlier, on Heart Under Blade. Then we have, what was his name? Oh, dramaturgy, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. It's written in such a way I cannot read the what is this font? I cannot read it. It's so all over the place. Dramaturgy, I think that was his name. Then we have episode, obviously. And then we have Seishiro. Okay, so yeah, all of them tied to Shinobu. And this is where Arag's like, wait a minute, if I think about it, there's one more vampire that is connected to Shinobu who I actually know nothing about. What about that person who made Shinobu into a vampire? So he asks her finally. He's like, oh Shinobu, can you tell me who's the person who made you the vampire? And she was like, Kaka, finally time has come for me to tell you, like, this story. Yeah, so yeah, the vampire prepared death, inevitable death, certain death. The one who created me gave me a name. Dystopia Virtuoso Suicide Master. Okay, so this is where Shinobu tells him the story. So, gets to know the story. We have already known the story, so obviously they skip that part. So, And Ari says, I understand why Gain told me to keep Shinobu suppressed for tonight. So, yeah, this is where Shinobu's like, oh, you're scared? Like, like, when she also says, oh, you know what? It's the same with me. Even I, like, sometimes, shiver thinking about that time. So Shinobu thinks she's dead. So she's like, oh, maybe she's crumbled to dust by now. Okay, now Aragi obviously is like questioning now because the only vampire that is left in this situation is like Dystopia. So Aragi is thinking maybe all these things are happening because of Dystopia. So he asks Shinobu like, oh, how does Dystopia eat or feed? Like what are her feeding habits? So Shinobu says like, compared to me, a foul eater who eats everything, any apparition or whatever it might be, which is true, we have seen her, she literally eats everything. So if you remember, she eats all types of apparitions. She like everything she eats. Yeah, unlike her, she's a gourmet vampire. Once she decides the menu, will not put anything else in her mouth. That is how stubborn. So she also tells her how she almost like didn't wanted to have suck Shinobu's blood, and that is why she decided not to eat anything before that, and that's how she almost died, starved to death. And then here Shinobu kind of fabricates the story, and she's saying stuff like, oh, it was me who told her that dying in this way is just like me, it is not that bad. Well, obviously that's not what happened, but yeah, and Shinobu's like, oh, it's your influence. I got influenced by your Aragi's, yeah. Yeah, so Shinobu automatically questions Aragi. She's like, why are you asking me this? Like, which makes sense, obviously. Suddenly, like, why suddenly this topic? Now, Aragi realizes he almost shot himself in the foot, so he's like, he tries to kind of, like, change the subject, and thankfully, exactly at this time, Ononoki comes. So, the whole thing gets gets distracted. So Aragi goes and brings in Ononoki, and as always, Aragi with his typical shenanigans. He's telling Ononoki to sit on his lap and all that stuff. Anyways, Ononoki is then, and I guess Ononoki here confirms that she was back there busy with the whole Nadeko situation. She brings in like a shrine, like the fortune flip, and right. So Shinobu's like, so you were just playing around with Hachikuji? And she's like, no, I wasn't playing around. Though Aruki, big sister Mami, is still the lost child that governs over this town. In terms of working, I have to set things straight with her or I'll pay for it. Okay, so I guess this is where Aragi comes up with an idea. He's like, okay, you know what? I cannot keep Shinobu distracted that much. Let me just bring her to the shrine. And he put Shinobu in the child seat, the booster child seat. Yo. Wait a minute, what is it written here? One in waiting, you should be the one to seek that person out. Okay, anyways. So either way, after that, they go to the shrine and see Hachikuji just praying underneath waterfall or whatever, like an artificial waterfall. And they're like, what the hell? And Hachikuji's like, oh, sorry, like I was just doing my training. And then all like the usual interaction between Hachikuji and Aragi, the whole like she calls Aragi a different thing, and Aragi's like, oh, my name is Aragi, and she's like, oh, Sure, kamimashita, and he's like, no, like wazato da, and she's like, no, kamimamita, wazato janai. And then she says something completely like random, like the wordplay and stuff. Right, but this time it goes further, because not only does that happen, and she calls Shinobu Nobushi, obviously like an anagram, Shinobu and Nobushi. And this is where Shinobu retorts and says like, oh, your anagram, you're getting mixed up. My name is not Nobushi, I'm Shinobu. So this repeats. Up until now she did it with only Aragi. Now she started it with Shinobu. So Shinobu is like, okay, you know what? Alright, I'll play into your thing. So she also like says the same thing that Aragi does. And then after that, she again starts with, like, she continues it into Aragi's name as well. And this is why Aragi is like, stop. If you keep continuing this, we're going to be in this perpetual motion, like, cycle of doing this whole, like this, this comedy routine. So stop here. No more. Anyways, and this is where Hachikuji is like, fine. Like, so I've called you here because I have something to show you or introduce you to you. Okay, one thing I just realized now, as Hachikuji says, she's the one who called Aragi here. Now, if you remember, I think I was trying to figure out what was written in that fortune slip. That part where Aragi sees the fortune slip, and you can see he opens it and he looks at the letters over there, and he was reading something in the fortune slip. This part isn't really translated, so I'm assuming Hachikuji probably somehow sent a message in that fortune slip to come to the shrine. So you can see Aragi is reading this, something written. Yeah, and this is where Aragi says, okay, Shinobu, let's go. So I think that's what happened. This is how Hachikuji called him. Because I was thinking, I was like, when did she call Aragi? She didn't call Aragi, but I guess that was how she sent the message to Aragi. That part wasn't translated, so I didn't realize that was like a message that Hachikuji sent. Okay, so Hachikuji is like, oh, it's not Aragi I want to introduce this person to. It is Shinobu. Araga's like, it seems like you're the one serious dangerous person, Shinobu. Don't sound so proud while you're having a young girl on your shoulders. Don't shrug, I'll cling onto you. Okay, so anyways, all that stuff aside, she opens the thing, and obviously we see Dystopia over there, all shriveled up. And Shinobu immediately is like, wait, that's Dystopia. So she goes and she's like, what the hell is going on over here? So it turns out, obviously, at first Aragi is like, wait, so this is like a mummy? But they're like, no, this isn't a mummy. Shinobu says, more so, this is like a condition where she didn't feed. I think that's what she says. Okay. Okay, so she says, this is not a zombie, or when you fail to become a vampire, this is not that case. This is cryptobiosis. Okay, what does that mean? What is that? Cryptobiosis is a state of extreme inactivity in response to adverse environment. Oh, hibernation, basically. Kind of. So to slow down the metabolic activities. Okay. Obviously, that is happening because she probably hasn't fed for a while. I'm assuming. Not a living corpse, but more like in a critical condition. Yeah, they give the definition of cryptobiosis here, but it's not translated, so I just checked it out. That is why you called for us. Okay. Yeah, so obviously Hachiguchi is like, yeah, obviously, like, I'm currently the god over here, so if someone comes here and some other foreign person comes and loses their life, that won't be good. So yeah, so this is where Hachikuchi is like, I want you to procure some medicine for this individual to recover, Aragi. It's a special mission for you. It doesn't exist in this world, so basically Aragi will have to go to hell. So to hell, what hell this is? Blood pond hell. I love how Arag is like, okay, so time to go back to my hometown, my second hometown, which is hell. This is like some extreme Junie stuff that he's saying over here, but you know what? Whatever. Shinobu. Okay, so Shinobu and Hachikuji then, Shinobu then brings out Kokoro-Watari. And she's like, oh, you let me sit in a child seat, now I'm going to show you the embarrassment that I felt, and I'm going to take revenge on you. Okay, she makes a lot of references here. I'm pretty sure she talks about like 7 sword techniques or whatever. Okay, the first one. Wait a minute. Technique 1, Kyokasuigetsu, Kachofugetsu, Hakkyaroran. Okay, I've heard of these names so many times from so many other shows. I doubt these are like all references or anything, and these are probably actual sword techniques, or I'm not really sure. But obviously Kyokasuigetsu, if you have seen Bleach, you'll know there's Kyokasuigetsu over there. We have Kachofugetsu, I think, in a few other shows. Kachofugetsu is in a few other shows. I don't remember the exact shows. Then we have Hyakiroran. All of this, names are like actual sword technique names. Okay, so I'm not really sure. Is this like some kind obviously I can understand this is a reference to something. Is this like some kind of One Piece reference? I haven't watched One Piece, but I could imagine One Piece having some sort of sword techniques like this. You know what? Let me check. Oh, yeah. Wait. No, I'm probably not One Piece, but like these, I'm pretty sure this is like some kind of a reference, or like something like that. Like a lot of shows she's referencing. And yeah, the seventh technique, torn to pieces. Yeah, and just kills Aragi over there. Aragi wakes up in a field full of lavender. I guess that's lavender, isn't it? That purple, yeah. Aragi's like, what the and he's like, oh, like, and I understand what has happened. Like, I'm so great that I was supposed to fall down to hell, but instead I rose up to heaven. Oh my goodness. And then Asura comes up from I don't know where, and she's like, you are not as evil of a human as you may think you are. And she's like all glowing and everything. She's wearing the mask. Pardon me for being in such a guise, Lord Aragi. And she's like, wait, like, beautiful princess? Yeah, there are people who call me by that name, but you can call me Asarala, Princess Asarala. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening here. How the hell is Asarala here? What is happening? I I think there's a 50% chance this is all an illusion and he's actually in hell. Like somehow like the hell where he is in is showing him some kind of an illusion or something. Like there's a 50% chance that's what's going on. But you know what? Let's wait for next episode. We'll get our answers then. And that was it. That was a great episode. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what happens and all that stuff. So yeah, like I said, I thought up until now that Dystopia is doing all of this, but maybe not. Seeing the state she's in, maybe something else is going on. Let's wait and see. So that is it. Thank you for watching, guys. This was my reaction to episode number 10 of Monogatari Off and Monster Season. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. That is it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Monogatari Off and Monster Season. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.